Back in 2021, CRO experienced the so-called four-wave cycle, but will we experience something similar now in 2025? Well guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. The 2021 cycle was a very volatile time for CRO and other altcoins, but if you take a look here on the Bitcoin chart, I think it's a great example of what an explosive growth move looks like. We went all the way from about 10k to 60k within a matter of only months. But you can see there are a few blips in between. And those blips might seem very minor. For other tokens like CRO, they were huge. Because you can see CRO went into multiple waves in the 2021 cycle. And blips like this one over here in December 2020, those were actually big waves to the downside as well for CRO. So you can see that while Bitcoin can maintain its steady growth, Cronos can struggle. And that's kind of what we're experiencing right now. And I've been following CRO for years at this point, and I want to take a look if we can use the wisdom or the experience from the 2021 cycle to see if we can predict anything for the 2025 cycle. So don't forget to hit the like button and of course strap in for more videos like this one here. Anyways, let's get back to the charts. And if we start to zoom in, we can see the first remnants, I think, of this wave theory, because we are going up and down again to this lower bound level. Anyways, I can see some waves, but does it look like a 21 cycle? And well, therefore, I'm going to grab these golden arches and make an overlay. And I kind of think they do look like your favorite fast food place. But if we actually overlay them, I do see some similarities, but also some differences. So the first arch, it really nicely aligns. It's a bit too low for this arch, but honestly, it looks pretty much the same. But then the second part, it starts off nicely with a good boom here, but then it simply fizzles out. So that's not really the same as what we've seen in 2021. So does that mean that this wave cycle theory is now invalid? Well, I don't think so. And therefore we have to go back to this over here, the 2021 cycle. But we have to understand that the cycle actually started earlier than 2021, even here in 2019. And what you can see in the first part of 2020 is a big crash within this wave here. This was the pandemic crash with COVID. So Bitcoin went down crazy and so went CRO. Some people would make the argument that if we didn't have the pandemic crash, we simply would have followed this pattern here. That's also why we do call it one big wave. But let's say it's a bit different this time around. We actually have a fifth wave. This is the fifth wave, guys. We can actually make that argument here. And let's copy over this exact wave here. And maybe if we overlay this wave also on the current cycle, we might see it is again looking a bit different, but already a bit less different than what we have seen earlier. So maybe if we include a fifth wave as well, a fifth small wave, we can still continue the four-wave cycle theory here for CRO. So that could mean that if we have a quick reversal, we can still fit the bill for this bigger wave. And there is actually quite an argument to be made for a big upcoming wave. And therefore, we have to go to a different indicator called the MEXC. The MEXC is the moving average convergence divergence. Big term, guys. But it's all about waves again. Of course, waves. You can see also with the MEXC, we have these waves. We have green waves and we have red waves. And the fun thing is, guys, after these red waves, what do we see? Green waves. And what you can see is that we are starting to converge again into the green. We're starting to converge again into the green. And how big, the bigger these red waves are, also the bigger the green waves are. The bigger the green waves, also the more the price will go up. So let's say within the next 2 months, we actually go up crazy. We go up to a new level. Well, in that case, we might actually see something like this appear. And that's not that out of the ordinary. If we reclaim about 40 cents for CRO within the next few months, or weeks I should say, we can still continue this cycle to play out. But okay, let's assume that Cronos is going to play out this four-wave cycle again. What does it tell us about a time and also a price prediction? Well guys, let's talk about that after a quick word from our sponsor. If you also believe that the crypto cycle will continue, you do need a place to trade your favorite tokens like CRO. And I mainly trade on crypto.com, but I never only bet on one horse. That's also why I do have an exchange account at MEXC, because they also offer CRO trading and a lot of other pairs as well, with some very decent fees. And if you sign up today, you also get an additional $20 if you use my referral link in the description down below. So use this for your own advantage. Anyways, let's get back to the 4-wave cycle theory here, because I do believe that this little 5th wave that we talked about earlier is somewhat caused by a black swan event. The decline here in this little wave all started with the impending trade war. Due to the trading tariffs being higher than expected beforehand, people got very fearful. What will this do with global trade? What will this do with inflation in the US? And if inflation remains high, what will it do with the interest rates as decided by the Fed? So a lot of uncertainty in the market. That's exactly what traders do not like. And I don't like to compare a trade war with a global pandemic, but this also was a black swan event here. Due to a lot of new cases of COVID, people were very fearful. What's going to happen with also again global trade because borders were closed? What's going to happen with internal market, with businesses going down as well because people needed to work from home? A lot of uncertainty, but after all, people find out it is business as usual again. So the market can continue to go up. And I do believe also, guys, that that's going to happen here with this little cycle. I do believe here we're going up to new levels, not only for CRO, but also for the stock market, for Bitcoin, and of course for CRO. But let's assume we're actually going to have a quick reversal here, that we're going up to even about 40 cents. We might see another decline going down as low as 14 cents. So that might be very fearful. But what I find very interesting is also the timeline that this 4-wave cycle theory is giving us. So let's assume we're actually going up in a few weeks. Then we might see a new high in the middle of May. That might actually be quite a nice timing for us, as I do believe in May we can see quite a bullish month. However, what they do say, right, is sell in May and go away. They do say that we're actually going to see a new low and higher low though in September of 2025 or even October 2025. And only then we see the 3rd cycle, the 3rd wave here. But also that one will only bring us up to about the same level. That's at least what it did here in 2021. And only really here, and then we're talking about August 2026, not this August 2026, then we're going to see the high of this cycle. And that is very interesting because we heard Chris, the CEO of Crypto.com, talk about the 4-year cycle theory is broken, but not broken by this much at least. So the question, of course, can we use the 4-wave cycle theory like it was back in 2021? I think not exactly. I think it's not exact science. We might see one wave less, because what we've seen with Bitcoin also was a very distinct double top. A very distinct double top. So if we're not going to have a very distinct double top for Bitcoin, we might skip exactly that one here. We might skip this M pattern. And if we skip that one, we might see one wave less. So we have to maybe bring this forward. And then we see we could actually have a top near January of 2026. That is the big question though. That's the big question. If we at least go this high, this level would bring us to about $1.80. $1.80 per CRO. So that could be the potential high according to the 4-wave cycle theory here. I would like to point out though that this theory is no absolute science. What we know from history is that history tends to rhyme but not exactly repeat. So if you will go to $1.80, no one knows. So we don't give any financial advice here. The only thing we do is we take a look at the A-bar and ask, will it go up or down? That's the only thing we do. And so far, we do actually see quite a bit of success with that. So if you want to follow our path, don't forget to strap in and of course hit the like button. And I would like to end this video by saying that, well, $1.80, it sounds high, but I think it's actually quite reasonable. But there's also a case to be made that CRO might go to $2.71, but therefore you have to check out this video to the left of me, so check it out.